Namaste, bitches, by Soria. Casper was always trying to fix me. He left flyers for divination therapy and female-only fasting retreats tucked inside my boxes of sugary cereal. My inbox was clogged with emails from him linking me to articles with titles like, "How I Overcame My Rage with Quartz Rose." Casper had a well-paid job at an architecture firm, wore Japanese knitwear, and owned a kitchen appliance for every eventuality. I was 5 stone overweight and had recently been fired. For the past week, I had been pretending to get ready for work, waiting for Casper to leave, then ordering takeaway falafel and masturbating on his Egyptian cotton bed sheets. I watched so much porn that the people on screen became irrelevant, reduced to a series of plucked and greasy orifices positioned in increasingly ridiculous poses. Spent my days with numb fingers chasing those fleeting seconds that gave me an escape from the tightness in my chest. "I'm gonna buy a sous-vide," Casper said. I checked the time on my phone. It was 3:30 a.m. Friday. "Leanna," Casper said, "Amazon said it will cook a steak to Michelin star standard." I put an ergonomic pillow over my face, hoping the pressure of it would send me back to sleep. Casper read the reviews out loud. "I bought a sous vide for my wife, and we are like newlyweds again. The sex has never been better. 5 stars. The pillow over my face was too light to crush me back into sleep. "Should Puppy buy it?" Casper said, using the cutesy nickname he had given himself. I counted my breaths and tried to remember why we were together. I felt his body shake as he cried silently next to me. "I'm gonna buy it. It will be good for us. We can do the Paleo Diet." I slept with the pillow over my face, and when I woke up, there was a lump above my eye. "Your late night shopping is making me break out," I said, watching as Casper packed slices of lean turkey into my lunchbox. I went to the bathroom and ran the shower until I was sure Casper had left for work. Then I set myself up on the sofa with a bowl of microwave custard, flicking between porn and reality shows on my laptop. At lunchtime, I heard the jingle of keys outside the front door. I ran to the kitchen and held my face under the hot tap until my cheeks were bright red. Work sent me home. I think it's the flu," I said, or maybe allergies. I pointed at the tender swelling on my forehead. Casper didn't notice. He was too busy fussing with a plastic carrying case with a grill in one end. "What's that?" I asked. "Our new baby. Aren't you our new baby?" he cooed as he lifted a gnarled, pinky gray creature out of the box. "It looks like a dinosaur." "It's a hairless cat. They're really fashionable right now. Lena Dunham has one." Casper lowered the animal onto the sofa where it haunched, motionless. I touched a hand to his exposed spine. "Feels greasy." Casper went out into the hall and returned with a 1-kilo bag of aerated cat food. I poked absently at the lump. It seemed to be growing by the minute, and the skin around it felt hot. "Does my head look weird to you?" "It's probably a buildup of bad energy. You should try my crystal yoga class." Casper pulled on a pair of running shoes and started jogging on the spot. "I need to get back to the office. Can you keep an eye on her?" I looked down at the cat. Its hairless paws were like old ladies' hands. Her name's Wee Wee. Wee Wee Walnut. Wee Wee for short. Casper shouted, slamming the front door behind him. Wee Wee took a few tentative steps across the table and vomited onto the keyboard of my laptop. 6 months previously, Casper had persuaded his friend Jonah to give me a job at his digital marketing agency, Rogue Animal. One of my few responsibilities had been maintaining the office cell phones, making sure employees didn't go over their call allowances and sending them for repair. All the devices were synced to a Dropbox on the office servers. So, with nothing to do, I spent my days spying on Jonah's phone, which contained evidence of his mundane infidelities and his far less mundane tastes in pornography. The day I got fired, I'd been out shopping all day for a birthday present for Jonah's daughter. I was wearing a mini skirt, and my thighs were chafing because I'd left my panties in the sink soaking in period blood and office-issued hand wash. Jonah was driving past just as I was getting back to the office. "Liana, can I have a word?" Jonah rolled down the window of his smart car and motioned for me to get in. I climbed into the passenger seat. My thighs swallowed half the gear stick on which Jonah was resting his hand. "You've been spying on my phone." He slid his seat back a few notches and spread his legs. He was wearing very tight trousers. Kind of a turn on, to be honest. He put his hand on the back of my headrest. "You know, I've always wanted to fuck a fat girl." I stared at the carpet and the footwell. There were strings of used dental floss trapped in the black fibers of the rug. I felt myself getting smaller and smaller, until I was a tiny kernel, rattling around inside a flesh shell. The heat from my face had started to steam up the windows. Jonah laughed and told me to get the fuck out of his car. I came up with the plan as I was clearing out my desk. I downloaded the Dropbox folder onto my personal laptop, and all I had to do was wait until the dust settled, then tweet a few pictures from the Rogue Animal account that would let the world know about Jonah's taste for breast milk. By Friday afternoon, the lump on my head was getting steadily more painful. I lay on the sofa with my eyes half closed, watching loose women with the sound down. Wee Wee had spent most of the day shredding Casper's knitwear. Occasionally, I'd catch her shrunken face looking up at me. She reminded me of one of those sad toys you see abandoned on the street. By early evening, she had softened and curled up next to me on the sofa. Although I had to arrange the throw cushions exactly to her liking. Otherwise, she would stalk off and piss in the reading nook. Casper got home at 6 and immediately began cleaning the cat sick from my laptop. He loved a project. I flicked my phone to selfie mode and examined the lump. It had grown a distinctive white head. I heard the chime of my laptop coming back to life, then Casper's voice from across the room. "You masturbate more than is normal for a woman." He had clearly discovered my search history. I picked up a turquoise business card from the coffee table. "I'm going to yoga," I said, putting on my coat. "And stop wanking on the kitchen surfaces. My parents are coming over for steak tomorrow." When I arrived arrived at the yoga studio, the class was full with glossy-haired women who looked like they were about to shoot a music video. I realized that underneath my coat, I was still wearing my pajamas. I turned to leave, but the teacher spotted me and waved me over. She wore one of those sports bras with the words, "Namaste, bitches," printed on it. "My name is Meridian. I'll be your guide this evening," Meridian said, and directed me to a free mat at the front. I glanced at myself in the mirrored wall. The lump on my head had grown to the size of an apricot. Meridian had begun to direct the class through the poses. My tit fell out in the first downward dog. 10 minutes in, and my hands were so sweaty that it was impossible to get any purchase on the mat. And I could feel the blood pulsing inside of the lump. I gave up and adopted the rest position, lying on my stomach with my face turned to the right so as not to put pressure on my forehead. I felt my phone vibrate in my pocket. It was a message from Casper. "I was fixing your laptop and found the filth you were trying to pin on Jonah. Why do you hate everyone who is more successful than you? I've deleted everything." At that moment, Meridian padded over. "Cell phone signals cause energetic discharge." She pulled the phone from my hand and switched it off. Then she took a crystal in each hand and pushed them into my shoulders, forcing me into a kneeling position. "Repeat after me. She said, sitting down opposite me, her delicate mouth open, eyes closed. I felt something rush up from deep inside my guts, gathering momentum as it moved through my body. When it reached my chest, instead of a gentle "Om," a scream ripped through my throat, and I felt something release. I opened my eyes, and Meridian was staring back at me, body frozen, lumps of pus dripping from her glossy hair. When I got back to the flat, Casper was lying on the sofa, the remains of dinner congealing on the table. I looked around for the cat, but she was nowhere to be found. "Where's Wee Wee?" I asked. "I returned her," Casper replied stonily. "She scratched up the seat of my Eames chair." I pressed the sleeve of my jumper to my forehead, which had almost returned to normal. "Returned her to the breeders?" I was surprised at the volume of my voice. "The breeders don't do refunds, so I left her outside the cat shelter," Casper said, getting up off the sofa. "It's Friday night. The shelter doesn't open again until Monday morning." "She'll be fine. I left her favorite cashmere jumper." I listened to the sound of his sheepskin moccasins schlep across the floor to the bedroom. It was late by the time I got to the cat shelter. When I rounded the corner, I could see Wee Wee's carrying case sitting outside the front door. The grill in the front of her carrier was open. I imagined her small body being passed around by drunken students. Breaking into a run, I reached the box and peered inside. It smelled strongly of sick. As my eyes adjusted to the darkness, I saw Wee Wee crouching at the back, shivering. I lifted her out and she hissed, gouging at my arms with her claws. I tucked her underneath my coat and held her against my chest. She looked up at me angrily, as though a lifetime of insults were held in each fold of her puckered skin. I took a deep breath, and for the first time in years, there was no tightness in my chest. I wasn't angry. I was tired. Tired of being a broken thing that needed to be fixed. Tired of eating nicely in small bites. Tired of talking quietly in public. Tired of having to hold my breath stuck in my stomach, bite my tongue so that everyone else would have an easier time ignoring my existence. I sat on the pavement outside the cat shelter, resting my head against the glass door. Wee Wee had begun to purr against my chest like a tiny engine. I noticed a handwritten sign inside the window of the shelter. Volunteers needed. Must like cats. I took down the number, smiling to myself. Namaste, bitches.